the human rights lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has called on Nigerian lawyers to take decisive action against the illegal arrest and detention of its citizens. In a statement issued on Sunday commemorating the 2024 annual conference of the Nigerian Bar Association, Falana urged the association to implement a robust mechanism for enforcing the Administration of Police Establishment Act and Criminal Justice Act, both of which have been adopted by all 36 states of the Federation. Falana emphasized the need for Nigerian lawyers to lead the charge in ending the violation of citizens' rights by police and other law enforcement agencies. Despite the laws that prohibit arrest and detention of individuals for civil wrongs and breaches of contract and mandate legal representation, humane treatment of suspects, and conditional or unconditional bail, Falana lamented that these rights continue to be violated. He urged the NBA to direct its human rights committees to across 128 branches to accompany chief magistrates during their monthly visit to police stations. Now, accompany chief magistrates in their monthly visits to police stations. Alright, which would help curtail the unlawful detention of suspects. The NBA should direct the members of the Human Rights Committee of the 128 branches to accompany Chief Magistrate during their monthly visit to all police stations in the country. In his words, such visit will end the incessant arrest and detention of suspects and others. Falana also called on the NBA leadership to pressurize the chief judge of the Federal High Court to designate judges for monthly visit to detention facilities operated by the Armed Forces, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offences Commission, National Drug Law Enforcement Agencies, Customs, and the State Security Service as mandated by law. We'll come back to this story and the other part and other things that he has advocated for. But you know, it's high time we had this conversation. This has been on for a long time. A lot of Nigerians know. We've heard of cases where people are awaiting trial for a long time. We've heard of cases where people will be held in detention that you've gone to court already, you have been sentenced, and then you stay there longer than the time that you were sentenced. When I found out about this, I was so shocked and I wondered why that would even happen. I mean, I believe that anyone who's sentenced is reading and counting the day he would come out of prison, and then the day reaches and you're telling there's nobody to even talk to, there's nobody to cry out to. So if Falana is finally coming out and saying all of these things, these are things that should really be looked at. What do you think?
Well, first of all, it's a good advocacy, and it brings a lot of questions in my mind and also in the minds of Nigerians. Firstly, a magistrate that is appointed by the government of the day most time tends to do the bidding of the state government to remain in office and also to remain in a particular juicy courts. So there is if I would call it politicalization of the judiciary. Now, that needs to be addressed. There should be a clear, according to the law, what do you call it again? The different arms of government, the autonomy of each of these arms of government. The judiciary is supposed to have according to the law, to be autonomous, to be independent, ought not to take approvals, directive from the executives. But most times, we are not saying that that is what is right, but sometimes because of understanding, they collaborate together. Again, I also want to lend voice to say, it's not just about human rights lawyers. Most times, some persons are kept in the correctional centers, having been fined, the tone of maybe just 50,000 naira, 30,000, 100,000. I've seen instances that, you know, yes, some good Nigerians, I have friends too who are involved in that. Recently, one of my senior friend, Professor Christopher Emomole, you know, went to a prison in Abuja. He has been doing that regularly. So all he does is they look at those who have been sentenced, you know, with fine, and then they will accumulate the resources. He will pay. It's not the first time he's doing that. And we have Nigerians that are doing that. So most times it doesn't need a kind of a showbiz arrangement where human rights lawyers will come and the law has already passed a judgment on them. But they only need that little support, the resources, to be paid. That's a fine. And then they go. That's why you see some of them stay there and it looks as if they are illegally detained. No. That's on the correctional center. And then most times too, the law gives the security operatives most times to keep a certain criminal upon investigation. Are you getting it? Maybe they are trying to gather information and all of that to a reasonable extent. Yes, we are aware that the law states that you can't keep any person more than 48 hours, right? You need to send the person to the courts. And most time when the person is sent to court, people will now say, oh, they illegally detain the person. Whereas the police is trying to do what is lawful. So I like to say that there is need for intentional collaboration with the police, emphatically, and the Nigerian army, with members of the jury. Yes, okay. Since it was addressing the NBA, rather. So the NBA must also rise up to her responsibilities, not playing politics with the association. The association is supposed to be a kind of succor, not just to the lawyers, because they have units like it talks about the human rights unit of the NBA. So we have human rights unit, we have human rights lawyers in the state, in every state. So there is need for collaboration, not just an indictment. It's outright indictment on the Nigerian police force, neither to the Nigerian army. There should be a kind of collaboration. I would suggest that as part of the security committees of every state, NBA should be part of it, so that NBA members, the lawyers who are in that security team, you know, will have the privilege and the right from time to time to suggest to the security operatives of what is going on and how the law are being abused. I would also like to state here that most of the senior police officers that we have today, some are lawyers. So they also know the law. Some of them are also part of the NBA. Because it's not the era where the police officers are not educated. Most are lawyers. They are called to the bar. Okay,
talking about that now, then why do we also have cases like this? Because he also advocated for state attorney generals to ensure that only legal practitioners get to prosecute criminal offenders.
You see, okay.
Okay, yes, continuing with that story now. He made mention of the as seen in Delta and Kano states, which have abolished the practice of police officers without legal qualifications handling criminal cases. He urged lawyers to provide pro bono legal services to indigent citizens with genuine complaints. So why would we have the police prosecuting when, according to him, the law does not stipulate or give a provision for that?
You know, when the desirable is not available, the available
becomes
desirable.
What is the desirable that is not available?
Now, the Nigerian police, when you go to court, you always have versus. On a criminal matter, most criminal matters are being, you know, initiated by the Nigerian police on behalf of the government, on behalf of the IGP. So it is not out of place if you are prosecuting and then they have a prosecutor in the police unit to go and represent the Nigerian police force. It's not out of place. But all what is trying to advise is that it's good for the prosecutor to become a lawyer. And most of the divisions, most of the prosecutors are now lawyers to a reasonable extent. He
stated clearly that it is out of place for the police to prosecute an individual. Without that, he talked about the lawyers should be the only ones to do that, right? The judiciary should be the only ones to do that and not the police. If you have stated that it is out of or it's against the law, there is no explanation that wants to make it lawful, something that is unlawful.
Well, I think I would like to agree with you because you have assumed that our elder brother and our father, revered statesman, Femi Falana, is an authority of the law, and I cannot sit here to argue with him. So I like to say that if he has advice and given that professional advice, I like to go with it. But I would like to encourage that there should be a periodic visit to the police, like he said, to correctional centers. And then when you talk about lawyers giving pro bono services, you see, the economy has also affected so many, legitimate and philanthropic actions of many Nigerians. I know there are lawyers who would have loved to do these pro bono services. Pro bono services means free services. But some don't even have transport or fuel to go to the police station. So even you that desire the pro bono services and you cannot even provide fuel for the lawyer, it becomes a challenge, So I think that the NBA should designate some certain amount of funds for lawyers who are interested in pro bono services.
Okay.
In case where the individual cannot afford to aid the pro bono service. The lawyer is saying, don't pay me, you get it, but I need fuel to get to that place to represent you. So in that case, it's still pro bono, and the lawyer do not have. So NBA should, those of us who are lawyers that have plenty money, philanthropists, let us support the NBA at this point in time at our various chapters so that there could be, a designated fund for pro bono lawyers, for the human rights lawyers, so that our citizens can enjoy these privileges in their defense in cases of injustice.
Thank you so much.
Is a good one.
Thank you so much, Ambassador.